Hey guys, Gathering Magic back again, and this is part 2 of the Card Market Watch for August 17th, 2025. So as we always do, we're going to get started with alpha and see what alpha prices have done over the last couple weeks. So looking at the commons here, you can see the cheapest commons are 29 cents. And they range in price from 29 cents all up to, this is the promo, so let's just look at core for now, up to $1.50 for alpha commons. You can see the number here on the marketplace. And then next, if we look at the rares, now the rares bump up over $1, so $1.04 is the cheapest. All the way up to $7.31 for Stone Splitter Orc. So there are your rares. Moving on to epics. So here are the 10 epics for alpha, ranging in price from $4.09 from the Dark Enchantress to $14.57 for the Screaming Banshee. And then finally your legendary cards, $25 for Gold Dragon is the cheapest, up to Selenia Sky at $141.61. Now, as I mentioned in part 1, let's see if they're still there. Yes, so I think this is the first time I've ever seen gold foil alpha cards under 10 bucks. So you've got Rexy and Haunted Spider both at $8. There's 2 Rexies, basically for $8 a piece. And then the Haunted Spider, there's one there for $8, and then there's a couple higher BCX, higher combined cards for basically $8 a card. So if you ever wanted to get in on some beautiful gold foil alpha cards for under the cost of an alchemy pack, now is your chance. The highest priced gold foil common you can see is Pirate Captain at $500. It's the only one on the market, so not very many of any of these on the marketplace. And even if you look at circulation numbers, you're looking at just over 300 of these cards in existence. Moving to the rares, gold foil rares, now you're looking at $40 to $55 are the cheapest. And they quickly move to $100 plus, up to Cerberus, that is just under 4,000. How many of these are in circulation? Looks like 130. And then next we move to gold foil epics. Now we're getting to $175 to almost $1,500. So you can see usually only 1 or 2 copies of most of these on the marketplace. Only 7 of 10 cards are even on the market. And your print run for these is now under 80. And then finally your gold legendaries. Like I mentioned in part 1, there's only 2. I think there was 5 or 6 for the last month or so in the marketplace. Now it's just Lord of Darkness for 3,000 and Selenia Sky for 7,800. Print run on these, you can see 22 for Selenia Sky, and for Lord of Darkness only 21. Okay, let's now look at the promo cards. So these are all the promo cards that are currently on the marketplace. So for the regular foil, you have the common Dragon Whelp at 10, Nebseni at 250, Royal Dragon Archer at 25, Shinlo at 200, and then the gold foil Shinlo at $1,980. That is it for alpha. Moving on to beta, the Corn reward cards. Let's start with the commons. Your commons, 5 cents is the floor. Moving up to 22 cents for Skeleton Assassin. Your rares, 26 cents are the cheapest beta rares. You know, chicken is down to 27 cents. All the way up to $1.84 for Ulrich. So take a look quickly at the Archons, see what the Archon prices are. So 30 cents are your cheapest Archons for beta, 34 cents for Zintar. All right, moving on to beta epics. Now you're getting close to 90 cents, the floor for these. Love the artwork of the older cards. And Talia is the most expensive epic at $5. And then finally your legendary cards starting at $4.33 for the Fallen Spectre. All the way up to your top two, Valnamore at $45 and Prince Renan at $67.05. Okay, let's take a look at the gold foils now. So your gold foils for beta continue to hold right above $2 for the commons. All the way up to Sea Genie is currently the highest priced common at $12. Okay, next we'll move on to the rares. So your rares looking at $8.50 for Naga Fire Wizard. Chicken is at $8.90. Of course, you have some gold Archons. We'll take a look at those in a minute. Most expensive is actually an Archon, Lyanna, at $225. Just looking at the Archons, range from $15.80 for Tyrus up to $225. Is this a single BCX? Yes, this is. So way too much for a single copy of that card. You can get level 7 for basically $50 a card. So beautiful cards, but yeah, this seems to be the normal range. I would put her probably at 25, not 225. Okay, moving on to epics. So your gold foil epics, now you're getting close to $40 for the floor, $38 for Air Elemental and Mischievous Mermaid. All the way up to $6.96 for the Raging Impaler. Only reason this card is that expensive, it's the only one on the marketplace. This should probably be down here, probably a $40 card. And then finally your legendaries, looking at $450 up to $10,000 for Angel of Light. Only one on the marketplace, and there's only 29 in existence. Prince Renan, 52, I don't know where they come up with these numbers, 5279.472. Can you just make it an even 5,000? Don't know why it has to be that specific price, but there it is. Okay, that's it for the beta. Let's look at the promo cards. So these are your promos. Delwyn, remember a few months ago when he was like 75 cents to $1? Now he's down to 18 cents. 60 cents for the Dragonling Bowman. $7.42 for Fiendish Harpy. $73.88 for Red Dragon. And as I mentioned in part 1, Archmage Arius and Prince Julian are both $1,100. They're the only ones on the marketplace. And then for your gold foil versions, Delwyn at $8.72, the Bowman at $14, and Fiendish Harpy at $195. Okay, let's move on to Orb. So the Orb commons in this very small set, 7 to 15 cents. The rares, 28 cents to 40 cents for Electric Eels. Your epics, Dwarven Wizard at 79 cents and the Mermaid Healer at 90 cents. And then your 3 legendary cards, Lord of Fire at $5.34, Minotaur Warlord at $10, and Corrupted Pegasus at $11.63. Your gold foil versions, anywhere from $2.34 for the Armorsmith to $32.50 for the Molten Ogre. And this is for level 8. It's the only one on the market. The rares, 11 to 14. Your epics, $45 for the Mermaid and $58 for the Dwarven Wizard. And then finally your 2 of 3 legendaries represented here, $450 for Minotaur Warlord and $8.88 for Corrupted Pegasus. Alright, so that's it for Orb. Let's move on to Untamed. So Untamed commons go anywhere from a penny up to 20 cents for the Herbalist. Your rares range price 4 cents for Centauri Mage up to, we'll take a look at some of the Archons, 45 cents for Kelp Initiate. What are the Archons? Because I noticed one was really cheap. Wow, 8 cents for Contessa. That might be, yeah, at least a few of those would be a definite pickup. 15 cents, especially if survival mode is back and you need Archons, might as well pick some up that are under 20 cents. So that's it for the rares. Your epics, 19 cents for Evangelist, Torhillo, up to $1.38 for the Chief. And then finally, what are the legendaries at? Legendary, actually there's a legendary now under $1 in Untamed. But some of the key cards, as you can see here, Kitty under 30 bucks, $27.16 for Kitty, 1961 for Jotun, under 18 for Llama, 10 for Almo. Actually, Kron's up to 779. You can see here some of the other key Untamed cards. And looking now at your gold foil versions, so commons, just above 50 cents for a gold foil Untamed common card. And your highest price common is $5 for the Barking Spider. Rares start at just over $2. Goblin Chariot is the cheapest, up to $5.39 for the Tower Griffin. Let's take a look at the Archons. So $2.45 up to $4.45 for Bortus. Your Epics, $12.63 for Thunderbird, up to Light Elemental at $98. And then finally your gold legendaries, $69 for the Guardian. He is the cheapest one. And then moving to the key cards, Spirit Druid Grog is $1,050, Scale Doctor $800, Kitty $715, Kron $495, Jotun $490, Llama $465, Mimosa $295. So there's some key cards there. Okay, let's take a look now at the promos from Untamed. So you've got your 3 promo cards. Halfling is at 85 cents. Chain Golem is at $11.44 and Mighty Draken at $3.99. The gold foils you can see here, Halfling Alchemist has come down to 60 bucks and the Chain Golem at $140. Okay, let's move on to dice. Your dice commons 1 to 6 cents. Your rares, all summoners, range from 12 cents from Vera all the way up to 41 cents Lorna Shine and 69 cents for Mylor. Did you ever think you would see Mylor at 69 cents? I remember when this was like, what, $4 or more per card? Now it's 69 cents. Epics, 20 to 28 cents. And your legendaries go from $1.66 up to usually the top 2. Epona is under 10 at $9.75. That may be a good pickup. Krallis is at $19.30. Like I said, this is the card that bounces around. I've seen it under 10 and I've seen it in the mid to upper 20s. Epona, I remember not that long ago, a few months ago, at like $35.40. So these 2 legendaries really bounce around in price. I would say when they get under 10, if you don't have one, you know, and you are a collector, definitely pick one up. Okay, golds, 50 cents to 99 cents for the commons. $2.77 to $10.89 for Lorna. Lorna's now the top card. I was debating about whether these would be good to pick up for land. Just because, for one, they're Archons, and then 2, being gold foil, and having, you know, a nice bonus being an older set for land. So debating about it. Let me know in the comments. Do you guys think that these would be good things to pick? I mean, if you can pick up a gold Archon for under $3 a card, you know, a rare one, is that a good deal in your opinion? Epics, $15 to $40. And then legendaries, $199 for Oaken Behemoth, up to $1,000 for Poseidon. All right, that is it for dice. Chaos Legion, everyone's favorite set. Let's look at the core and the first set of reward cards. No surprises. that the commons are 1 to 3 cents. Oh, look at this. Deep Lurker shot up to 9. Earlier today, he was 3 cents. So now there is a handful of them at 9 cents, and then quickly jumps to 20. So what is going on with Deep Lurker? But then once you get above the single copies, you get to level 4. Now you're looking at 2 cents a card. So someone has scooped up all the single BCX, it looks like, of Deep Lurker. Rares, so rares just above burn at 2 cents a piece. Up to 20 cents for Kelia. Epics, 9 cents. Up to 18 cents for Igor. And then finally, legendaries have come down under 50 cents. They're now right at 45 cents for the floor, all the way to Immortalis at $2.38. One thing I was thinking about doing just for fun one of these days is just buying like a ton of these. Just buying a ton of them, you know, that are close to burn, burning them, getting the DEC, buying another one, burning it, seeing how far you can go. Kind of like how we did not too long ago with SPS. Just to try to get rid of some of these things. All right, epics. Okay, we looked at all that. Let's go to what's next? So we looked at all the regular foil, gold foil. All right, so this is my favorite part. The gold foil Chaos Legion cards. So individual cards, 14, 16 cents is the floor for the commons, all the way up to the most expensive. Look at that. Venari Heatsmith is above Scavo Hireling at 49 cents. But what I would like to do is look at the max level. So if you're looking for land workers, you know, these are some of my favorite cards to put on land. So you're looking at, interesting that it's fire and death are the cheapest two. You know, this whole row is fire and death. And then you get into life and earth, basically next. And the ones that are very expensive seems to be water. And I think that's because a lot of the grain plots take water splinter. So you look here, your cheapest water cards for commons are 14. You know, fire, you're looking at, you know, $6. Earth, couple under 15. So earth has got a couple cheap ones. Life has got a couple under $8. Death, you know, very cheap. And then there's no dragon, of course. And then don't forget the neutral, Gargoyle Lion. You know, if you need a worker and you have a lot of different plots of land, neutrals are not that bad, even though they don't get that 10% bonus, because they have that flexibility of going to any plot. So that's one thing to keep in mind if you are a large landowner and you're looking for a good deal, is it would not hurt, especially if you're clearing plots, you know, to pick up some neutrals. You know, it doesn't matter what type of land you throw them on, and then you know, of course you have to wait that 3-day cooldown when you take them off, but you can put them on a different plot with no penalty. So just something to keep in mind there. But yeah, look for max. How many are available? 5, 1, 7, 5. So even though Chaos Legion, of course, was printed to oblivion, there are not very many max gold foil commons available. So I'm looking to pick up a few more. So I think I will do that after this video, because I still have probably another, at least in my main region, I need probably another 13 or so units to fill my plots. So definitely we'll be checking out some of these. Okay, moving on to the rares. So your rares individually, you're looking at 75 to 80 cents a piece. All the way up to the most expensive is Kelia at $1.89. And then for max level cards, for a max gold foil rare, you're looking at, you know, the cheapest two, which are your neutrals, basically $18 to $19. Other than that, when you get to specific splinters, you're looking at basically $20. So 20 to 24, I would say, would get you basically any splinter that you're interested in. But once again, it looks like Fire and Death are the cheapest plots available. The cheapest water monster available, you're looking at Venari Wavesmith at $22, and he's the only one. There's just one. So once again, if you're looking for water or earth to work on your grain plots, that's what you're looking at spending right now. Moving on to the epics. So epics pretty much have been holding that $3.50 to $4 floor for quite a while. Up to, I'm sure this is a max level one for 55. So $3.50 to about, what, $9? This for an individual? Yep. But, you know, that's for an individual card. If you go for a higher level card, you're looking at about, you know, right around a little over $4 a piece. So that seems to be holding. So just to have something to plan on. So if this is something that you want to level a little bit at a time, each individual card only costs 1,000 DEC to stake, 10 copies to max one out. So if you want to slowly build up, you know, your plot, you can afford, you know, basically $5 whenever, you know, $5 a week. If you can get one right around 4 between this and the DEC, you're looking at $5. So for $5, you can just get a single BCX, single copy of one of these cards, and then just slowly build up your land if that's something that you'd like to DCA into. For the max level copies, there probably won't be a whole lot. Yep, this is it for your max level. You're looking at 2, 3, 4 copies of most of these, some of them just one. So not very many out there, but of course they are pricey. Now you're getting anywhere from, see, this is why I like the neutrals, $36, and then it jumps to 42. So like I said, if you're not that concerned with that additional 10% bonus, you can save a little bit of money and then have the flexibility of putting these guys anywhere. And then finally your legendaries. So cheapest gold legendary from Chaos Legion, $26.50. Up to currently $115 for Astral Entity, which is a big jump up from the previous, or the next highest price card, which is just under $50. So basically $25 to $50 for a gold legendary. And then if you wanted to get a max copy, you're looking at about $105 to $199 for Possibilis. But most of them are in that $150. So $105 to $150 for a max gold foil legendary. Okay. So that's it for core and reward. Let's look at just the soulbound cards from Chaos Legion. So your commons, 7 to 23 cents. Your rares, 32 cents to 65. Your epics, $1.10 to $2.19. And your legendaries, $5.40 for Tenacious Hulk up to Avis at $16. And then your gold foil, commons, $1.45 to $4. Your rares, $5.96 up to $50. Your epics, $18.75 up to $65. And finally your legendaries, there's only 6 of the 12 even on the market. You can see only 1 or 2 copies of these. $59.90 for Kulu up to Barracks at $199.90. All right, let's look at the promo cards. So these are your promo cards from Chaos Legion. Bruise is at 4 cents, the Bear at 6 cents, O'Shure down to 267. Look at Dr. Blight, 323. We might hit a 299 Dr. Blight by the next Market Watch. Zerial, 549. She'll probably be at like 450. Lux Vega has come down since I did part 1. Part 1, it was 125. Now there's a copy for 119. And Waka is 300. Your gold versions, Vruz at 86 cents, Archimus at 114, Zerial down to 39, Dr. Blight at 40, O'Shure at 55.55, Waka at 499, and Lux Vega at 3200. I don't think this was there earlier, so I think this one was just posted in the last few hours. All right. So now let's move to Rift Watchers. So I mentioned in part 1, Rift Watcher packs are down to 99 cents. So does that mean people are going to start buying Rift Watcher packs soon to be land workers? Time will tell. Commons are 1 to 15 cents. Your rares, 3 cents to 28. Your epics, which are also archons, look at this. Look at how close these are in price. 19 cents for Aquatus, 20 cents for Dallin. And then this is usually viewed as the best archon, and it's only 29 cents. So very, very close price range between the best and worst archon. And then finally your legendaries. $1 seems to be the floor here. And then look at Inevitable. This was consistently a $15 to $20 card. Now it's down to $6.64. So if you're someone that plays in Wild and you're looking to pick up some really cheap legendaries, you know, maybe Rift Watchers. I mean, and there's not like there's a ton of them out here. You know, it's not like Chaos Legion where there's hundreds of thousands of these things. There's less than 2,000 of some of these legendaries. Coral Lurker at 2,700. What's Inevitable? Less than 1,500. So which one has the highest print? 3,000. So let's just say 3,000 for these legendaries. How many legendaries are there in Chaos Legion? Yeah, see, 11 to 12,000. So yeah, I have to think about that. Yeah, even 7,000 for Immortalis. So Rift Watchers is not as plentiful, I think, as people think. So just surprised the prices are that low. All right, let's look at the gold foils. So how are the gold foil prices for Rift Watchers? 23 cents to 42 cents for a common. So that's a little bit higher than Chaos. Rares, about the same, 76 to 80 cents is the floor, but 6.75 is a lot higher than the highest price rare. Your epics, 4 to 8 bucks. That's pretty consistent with Chaos Legion. And your legendaries, what was the cheapest one? 24.50 for Chaos. Now we're 27 to 30 to 36. So the legendaries are really holding their value for the gold foil for Rift Watchers. And how many are there? 228, 132, that's it. So there's not many of these out there. 141. And then once again, how many were there for 700, almost 800? Just trying to get a feel for how many there are. So let's say 700 to 800 for Chaos Legion. And then Rift Watchers, you've got like 1/6 of that. Alright, so that is it for Rift Watchers. Let's move on now to Rebellion. Core Rebellion. The set that everyone has forgotten about because we're all playing Frontier. So the commons are 2 cents up to what? 203? What is this? $2 for a single copy of a common dual summoner. Look at that. And then once you start getting one leveled up, then it drops down to about 45 cents, 50 cents per card. But yeah, there are not many of these out there, and these are commons, kids. These are commons. These are not legendaries. They're not even rares. Look, $1.35, $1. Man, who would have thought that some of these common dual summoners would go up in price? What is going on here? Man. All right, let's go to rares. Rares, 5 to 9 cents for the floor. Up to some of the key cards, $1 for Moxian Rebel and Avina the Wolf. Silverblade Fighter at $7.55, only because it's the only individual card on the market. There are no single cards, as you can see. All max level cards, a level 4 and a level 6, but basically you're looking at 35 to 45 cents a piece, so don't pay $7.55 for one card. So he's basically a 45-cent card. All right, moving on to epics, 32 cents for the Karst Harpy, up to 9.13 for Palace, same thing. It is not an individual card, it's a level 3, so you're looking at about 90 cents per card, although there are a couple people trying to sell individual cards for over 12 bucks. But as you can see, this is basically a 90 cent to $1 card. And then finally your legendaries. $1.24 for Zabajan. And then Tofu has come down a little bit in the last month. You know, he was consistently, what, 60, 65 bucks. Now he's down to 56. Lorcas came down to 36. We went through the prices, I believe, in part one. Just kind of show you guys the screen so you can see where all the legendaries are at. And then we will move on to the gold foils. So your gold foil commons in Rebellion are now getting close to 50 cents, so I'll have to keep an eye on this. So if you are a low-level player that's playing in Modern and you're just looking for a bronze or a low silver deck, don't overlook the fact that you can get like 5 of these commons will give you a max silver, 1 of these will give you a max bronze. So even just picking up 1 copy of each of these commons, if you're a new player, you can have a max bronze deck. And then of course your Archons have moved in price from a few months ago when I was screaming at people to buy them when they were 4 or 5 bucks, and now they are 10 to 13. And I don't think they're going to go down too much from there. Okay, rares, you're looking at $1.50. To some key cards, Underboss Fabino at 11, Avena at 10, Moxian Rebel almost 13, Prophet Rosa 8, another one of my favorites, Chaos Jailer just under 6. Your epics, 650 is the cheapest, then it jumps to 7, then jumps to 850, then jumps to 12, so not many under 12 bucks. And they go up to $30 for the Red Worm Dragon, but this is, wow, only 2 BCX. So $15 a card, that's way too high. Well, maybe not. $15 a card, that might be about right. It just looks kind of high. $20 for the Harbinger for an individual card. Yeah, that card's really gone up. People are realizing how good it is. And then finally for your gold legendaries, take a look here so you guys can see. One of the key things to look at, look how many are on the marketplace. 4, 3, 2, 1, 3. Not many of any of these on the marketplace. As you know from part 1, there was not a lot of Rebellion cards open in the last 2 weeks. Only, what, a couple hundred. So people are not opening these packs. These cards are holding their value. And I think they will continue to hold their value, especially when you have something like this and there's less than 100. Yep, don't be surprised if in a couple years these cards might be a lot higher, even when they rotate out of Modern and go into Wild, because by then there's probably going to be not just Wild, there's going to be different formats as well. Formats that we have not seen yet, where these cards are going to be valuable and wanted. The one thing that I have ultimate confidence in is the team being creative and finding a way to use a lot of these cards as they rotate out of Modern. So I think people are going to be surprised 2-3 years from now how some of these cards that in the past have gone down once they rotate out of Modern. I don't think that's going to be the case for very much longer, but that is just my personal opinion. No proof to back that up yet. All right, let's look at reward. So reward cards. So commons, 10 to 11 cents. Rares, 38 to 44 cents. Your epics, $1.89 to $2.80 for the Halfling Refugee. And your legendaries, $6.50 up to $15 for Blackmoor Jinx. And this has changed just since I did part 1 earlier today. Your gold foils, $1.70 to $3.19. Gold rares, $9 to $17.40. Your gold epics, basically 50 bucks to 66.50. And then the only legendary card for $2.50, Gallicus. Okay, let's look at the promo cards from Rebellion. We went through these in part 1. I will just kind of show you the list so you can see the prices and then see how many are in circulation. These are all the regular foil cards. Wanted to look, I was pretty sure Delia is at max level. No, so the max level Delia is $476, $43 a card. This one at $386 is only for 3 copies of a card, so definitely don't pay that. But you're looking at just over $43 a card. I saw the 386 and I'm like, that's got to be a max level card, but no, it's not. So definitely, especially if you're paying that much money, guys, you probably already know this. Definitely check to see the level of the card and how many cards you're getting for that price. Don't assume that because it's high, it's max level. Don't click too fast to make a mistake and waste a couple $100. Okay, and then the gold foil versions. See, Mana Warden dropped under 2. And these are all of them. So you can see there's a lot of gold foils that are not even on the marketplace for these promos. All right, I think that's it for Rebellion. What's next? Conclave Arcana. So commons are going for 3 to 6 cents a piece. I need to pay more attention to Conclave Arcana and get some more cards, but I'm just having too much fun in Frontier. 10 cents is the cheapest rare. What are the Archons doing? I haven't checked in a while. Okay, so they're still above $1, $1 to $1.60. About the same price. I know a couple of times these would hit about $2, but then they would drift back down. So they're still holding $1 to $1.50 pretty consistently, it looks like. Your epics, 50 cents is the floor, up to $2.19 for Lucky Longshot. And then finally your legendaries. One thing I noticed too, like in Rebellion, you've got a couple legendaries that like are $1 or $2. That's not the case in Conclave Arcana. The cheapest legendary is $5. I mean, we don't have any super expensive legendaries yet because we don't have all the airdrop cards out. Oh, I needed to add that to the Market Watch. Now that I see that, I'm going to have to go back and put that in part 1, or put it in my data that he is 935 because he was just released. So I need to add that. But yeah, so $5.36 to $14. It was a pretty tight range for legendaries. And once we get the more of the airdrops and the summoners in, you know, these are holding their value. Gold foils have come down. For the commons at least, they've drifted lower. So 57 cents to $1.46. Once again, if you're a low-level player, you know, just picking up 1 copies of these, boom, you've got a level 3 card. That's going to get you that 10% bonus. So that's why I love these so much. Rares, now you're looking at close to $3 a piece, up to the Archons. Have they come down at all? 10 to 16. They've come down maybe $1 or $2, but not very much. They're still holding at least $10 a piece. Epics, 10.57 up to 16. And then finally your gold legendaries, looking at $60 for Desolation, up to 119. All right, so now we start getting into the variants. So let's look at the black foil first, commons. So 123.50 is the floor for a black foil card, up to 275. So there is a good variety of commons, but as you can see, not very many on the market. It's what, 5 or less of all these things? Yep, so not many for sale. Moving to the rares, now you've only got 12 of the rares represented here. And then next for the epics, there are only 5, anywhere from $580 up to $1,000. Once again, only 1 or 2 on the marketplace. And then finally your legendary cards. Surprised that there's actually 4 of them on the market. So you got the Scavenger at $18.99, Inept Healer at $19.99, Desolation at $24.99, and Gray Brow at $4,000. And then next, if you look at the Gold Arcane, this is the entire list. There's only commons. This to me just seems really cheap. As few of these as there are, 132. I mean, you can get a black foil slightly cheaper, but you've already got 115 of them. Where for your gold variant, your Gold Arcane, there's only 50. You know, this one happens to be number 17 of 50. So to me, anything under like 150 to maybe 175 is a good deal. So yeah, even these two, you know, have a card numbered out of 50. That's pretty sweet. And then your black foil, this is it, guys. You've got 3 commons and 1 rare on the marketplace. Beautiful cards. All right, so let's look now at your promo cards. So let's go one by one. So the pickle, 5 cents, $1.41. There's actually 3 gold arcanes on there, $2.48, and then your black foil at $2.90. And once again, there are more of these than these. So why is this cheaper? There's already 111 pickles, black foil, and there's only ever going to be 50 of these. So either this is too high or that's too low, one or the other. All right, moving on to your rares. Skinwalker, 89 cents, $5.80 for the gold, $6.49 for the black foil. Epic Tasoshi, $3.20 for the regular foil, and $48.98 for the gold. And then your legendary Grammel, $13.26, $158 for the gold foil, Archmage Yabanus at $198. And that is every version of those cards. So is that it? Are we done? No, there is another set, a set that no one is playing, no one even talks about, no one cares about. The cards are completely worth. No, I'm joking, of course. Everybody, I love Frontier. Everybody loves Frontier. It's like starting over. Everybody's starting over from scratch. These are the only cards you can play with. There's no Heloise the Hollow Foundation cards. It's like there are a few cards that are a little bit harder to get, you know, the epics and legendaries that weren't part of the campaign. But other than that, it's a even playing field for everybody. So everybody pretty much enjoys this. Went through all the prices in part 1, but just kind of want to show you the screen now so we can see the prices and how many are currently on the market. We can't see the circulation numbers because they don't have them on the front page anymore. I wish they would put that back, but it is what it is. So you're looking at 16,000-ish for the common cards. The rares, 12,000. Epics, about 12, 13,000. And let's check out legendary, 8,500. Okay, so here are all the cards. Let's just go by rarity so you guys can see them a little bit easier. So the 18 commons go from 4 cents to 18 cents. Your rares, 6 cents, up to your archons, which this guy's above $2 again. So right around $1. So $1, usually I see him between $1 and $1.75, but sometimes he spikes above $2. Your epics, these are all your epic cards, and of course the pricier ones are the ones that did not come in campaign mode. Saltwater Mage at $5.45. And then your legendary cards, these 2 we got in campaign. All the other ones are $4 plus. The Scale Weaver is just under 18 now. How many of him is out there? 164. This is after 2 weeks. So if we add 80 a week, so we look at about 4,000 after a year. 2 years, 8,000. Yeah, we'll see how much it comes down. Of course, there is also the talk that we will be able to burn some of these to get entries. It'll be interesting to see if you burn a legendary, how many entries you get. Because would you burn this card if you got like a ton of entries at a chance of pulling a black foil or gold arcane of this card? Or, you know, you may not specifically get this card, but if you got a ton of raffles, would you burn these cards? There is the regular foil, your gold foils. 80 cents is kind of the floor for a common, up to 240. One thing I was thinking about making a video on, but I think I'll just talk about it briefly here. I think what might be a good option for some people to do is maybe look at, since these things get maxed at silver, just picking up the gold foils. Because it only takes 5 of these to max one out, opposed to getting 60 regular foils. And then with your rares, you only need 4 to get one to max silver instead of 25. Yes, they are a little bit more pricey, but just an option out there. I'm not sure if at some point in the future these gold foils, besides leveling quicker, are going to give any kind of bonus in Frontier mode. Right now, since we don't get like SPS or Glint or anything else, they really don't give any kind of bonus, but it's one of those things where you might want to think ahead, because maybe at some point in the future they add some kind of token or something to the game where if you have a gold foil in Frontier mode, you do get a maybe 10% extra of whatever that extra token or resource is. So nothing guaranteed, but you know, to me, I would think at some point they're going to add something to give these things, you know, a value for being gold foil. Your epics, you're looking at $6 to $19 for the Saltwater Mage. Let it load the correct graphics. Yep, so there are those cards. And then finally your legendary cards. These are the only ones you can see here. The Scale Weaver. I'm surprised the Druid's the same price as the Scale Weaver. $69 is the top price there. Okay guys, there you have it. Wow, there is the Card Market Watch, Part 2, August 17th, 2025. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you're having a ton of fun playing Frontier. Like I said, I am. It's been challenging, it's been a grind, but it has also been a ton of fun. It's really helped my $10 accounts, my low-level accounts, to be able to get some cards to actually even play those in Modern. One of the things I'm doing as well is playing a little bit Modern to get potions, because you can use potions now for your daily rewards, and I would suggest always making sure if you are a newer player that you have potions when you claim. It will give you double the chance of getting a gold, an epic, or a legendary card. So that is all I have for you in this episode. Until next time, stay the course, keep on frontiering, and have fun. We'll see you soon. Take care.